In Pickit Dragons, you collect cards and combine them into dragons, skillfully using their special abilities to get the most points and win the game. Welcome to my review of Pickit Dragons. Hey everyone, there is Athagos. Today I'm bringing you my review of Pickit Dragons. This is one of the games that is covered at Spiel 2021 in Essen. The designer was so kind to provide me with a review copy, so thank you very much for that. But, as usual, before I give you my review, let me show you how to play the game first. For the setup, first separate the dragon cards from the mission cards and put the mission cards aside. You won't need them for the basic game, but I'll tell you later how they work. Then each player chooses a scorecard and token in one of 5 colors. Be mindful of the fact that the scorecards are double-sided. You can turn the card around when your score exceeds 20 points. The starting player receives this cute first player token. I usually determine the starting player this way. The player who last rode a dragon into town begins the game. If none of the players has ever done so, add it to your bucket list and then choose a starting player randomly. Then you shuffle all of the dragon cards and deal 5 cards to each player. The remaining cards compose the draw deck, which you place in the center of the table in reach of all players. Afterwards, each player chooses 2 cards they hand to the player to their right. Last but not least, put 4 cards face up next to the draw deck. This will be the offer you can take cards from. Also, leave room for a discard pile. You are done with the setup. This is how the play area should now look like in a 2-player game. Players take turns in clockwise order, taking the following actions on their turn. As a mandatory action, the player takes 1 card, either one from the offer or the top card from the draw deck. As an optional action, a player can play a dragon into the play area in front of them. The dragon needs to be complete to be played. As long as the dragon contains no joker as a placeholder, the dragon's ability will now be active. More about the dragon's abilities later. After playing a dragon, the player immediately notes the received points on their scoreboard. Instead of playing a dragon, players can decide to exchange a joker in front of them or another player. Then, if the player has taken a card from the offer, they replace it with a new one from the draw deck. Then the player must adjust their hand to 5 cards, either by discarding or drawing cards. The game ends whenever a player reaches or exceeds the target score. That target score is 30 points at a 2-player count and 25 points when 3 or 4 players are playing. Then the active round is completed and another final round is played. At the end of that final round, the points are counted and the player with the highest number of points wins the game. In the case of a tie, the player with the most completed dragons wins. There's 2 more things you need to know: the dragon's abilities and points. Green dragons grant 1 point each. Also, a group of 4 is a flock and grants 4 additional points, granting you 8 points for those 4 dragons. A player can also sacrifice a green dragon by flipping it around to take the top card of the discard pile into their hand. The flipped dragon doesn't count towards the player's score anymore. Red dragons grant you 3 points and let you look at the top card of the draw deck at the beginning of your turn. Yellow dragons are worth 5 points and let you play 1 incomplete dragon instead of a complete dragon during your turn. The dragon can be finalized in a later turn. Until then, it won't grant you points or its special ability though. Blue dragons are worth 7 points and let the player remove all cards from the offer and replace them with cards from the draw pile. Purple dragons are worth 9 points. If the dragon is complete, it grants an additional 2 points. You can also play the game with the mission cards. Either each player receives 2 mission cards, choosing one of them to keep in secret, or you draw 1 public mission card. These missions grant you points when you complete them. You can also play with secret and public missions combined. The last thing to know is that you can use jokers to substitute dragon parts. The points of the dragons then count, but not the special abilities. Alright, that's all you need to know to play Pickit Dragons. But how do I like the game? The game is highly accessible, having very simple rules that are quick to teach and understand. Still, it has a nice puzzle aspect. You always need to juggle your hand size limit while collecting all dragon parts you need. That's a pretty nice balance. I also like this player aid with the turn summary on one side and the special abilities and points of the dragons on the other side. This is very handy to have. Unfortunately, a lot of games don't have anything like that, so it's great that Pickit Dragons does. The game has very funny art design. The nicest thing regarding the design is that there is a lot of different artworks. That means that the yellow dragon will look different than the other players' yellow dragons. That is a nice touch and makes you also look at the other players' dragons. This is a very fun thing to do. The simplicity of the rules make this game a really good introduction to the set collection mechanism. Also, because of that, it can be played with pretty much anyone, especially children. One pretty major thing I wasn't all too fond of is that the quality of the cards is a bit rough around the edges. Also, they're not the most durable and thick cards, they're pretty thin, to be honest. This also makes them quite hard to shuffle and pick up. After having spoken with the designer, they told me that this is due to a production issue. This should be fixed with the next print run. The game is not available in all countries yet. I will leave the Instagram account in the description of this video so you can follow along with the progress of the game and hope that it will be made available more internationally. All in all, I enjoyed Pickit Dragons. It's a great introductory set collection game that is suitable for the entire family, especially children because of the art style and the accessibility. This will be a game I'll be pulling out from time to time if I'm in the mood for a simple and fun puzzle game. If that speaks to you, I'd suggest you keep an eye on the game. As I mentioned, I will put the Instagram account in the description of this video. And that should be all from my side. Thank you very much for watching this video. Why don't you check out the other videos on my channel? There's a lot to discover there. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. My dragon is waiting outside for my ride into town. Take care and cheers.